until I realized that there are many levels to unveiling God's purpose, and the purpose is revealed when you are in your darkest seasons. It was clear to me now more than ever that even though God has need of you to bring forth His purpose, we are not exempt from the troubles and the temptations of this world. In episode 2, I wanted to share with my audience a little bit about how I was able to bounce back after a season of grief through therapeutic writing. That season for me would take me down a rabbit hole, which required me to have so great faith and understanding on what was happening in my life, in the life of my family. Yet, in the midst of the trouble, the assignment does not stop. In fact, we must continue to proceed and always remain prayerful because someone is watching.
Immediately when I think of Trina, I think of someone who is strong and who can really be able to transform a room and a situation. And I say that because we have had a long length of our time together. I first met Trina when we served together at Household of Faith over 20 years ago. And from that moment, just being able to watch her and everything that she's done, I had an opportunity to serve with her, but also to look up to her as a mentor.
I've met a lot of people along the way, and I would like to call them my earth angels.
Hi, my name is Tanya Washington. And what can I say about my mentor and friend, Joan Montreal? I met her at Household of Faith Family Worship Church in New Orleans, Louisiana. At that time, she was our director of the drama ministry, and I was just a young girl who loved to sing, act, dance, and she took me under her wing. She took us all under her wing. And if I could say I took anything away from that experience, it was work ethic, a spirit of excellence. Even though at that time we were performing at a community level, everything that we did was with a level of professionalism that anywhere that I went after that, it made me take notice if things were not done in a certain way.
In the 1990s, I started Sister to Sister organization, and we would go throughout communities spreading the gospel through stage plays, and I was doing something that I truly loved, but I was not aware on how impactful it would be to so many people. One of the things I learned is that God will send help. Looking back, before I left New Orleans, Louisiana, I was very concerned that I would not be able to find a team that I had in New Orleans, Louisiana to help me to move the vision forward. An audience. How do I rebuild the audience? So there were all these questions in my mind.
Where does one begin? How did I meet Trina Brown, aka Joan Montreal, aka the revolutionary queen of film in Texas, the entire state? Doesn't matter where you live. She has revolutionized the female game, and so many people have come from under her tree to go on to do great things. When I have to think about how me and Trina met, I have to go back years, actually over a decade at this point. And we were first introduced when I was working with a former manager, former teacher of mine, and we were doing a project for Boys and Girls Club. And it's amazing how God will utilize people that are in your inner circle to bring you to where you're supposed to be, to continue his plan, to fulfill your destiny. And when those people bring you together, sometimes those people fall off, or sometimes those people are no longer in your life because they've served the assignment in which God placed them in your life for. And that is exactly what happened with me and Joan. I came into the Boys and Girls Club excited to work with the kids, excited to give back. You know, by this time, I believe I was done with season 4 of Friday Night Lights, and my career was taking off, and I was excited to want to give back, to help others, to give to the community, to be a blessing to others that God has blessed me. And I go to the Boys and Girls Club, and I think I'm going to do this program, and I'm talking to the director and the district person and all the corporate people, and one day I go to do a tour, and I can get emotional because as you can remember the times in your life where things just seemingly changed. There was a switch. There was a transformation that happened. And during this particular visit, I met Trina Brown. I met her, and it was an instant connection, creatively, spiritually. And it was one of those things where it was palpable. You couldn't deny it. And so me and Trina got to talking and communicating, and we talked about her love of the arts and her love of theater and her wanting to do movies and TV shows and things of that nature. And Trina, as you all know already, comes from an amazing background, over 20-something years of stage productions and productions in general. And it's amazing that when I first got to the Boys and Girls Club, she was not someone that was told to me. Nobody mentioned her. Nobody said anything. And that's another thing, how sometimes people will try to cut you out of your blessing, but God says, no, 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 no. This shall go forward because I said so. And it was one of those things where we happened to meet. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't like anybody designed it. It was because God intended. That is the reason why I went to the Boys and Girls Club. I thought it was for one reason. Trina thought it was for another. But the reason I went there was to meet a woman that would have such a major impact on my life, professionally and personally, to start this amazing journey. So we meet at the Boys and Girls Club, and we start talking, and we talk for hours. I think it's the Scorpio in us. We're both Scorpios, so I think that has a lot to do with it. But we're also both creatives, right? We love what we do. We care about what we do. And we started talking, and next thing you know, the idea for Bayou City came out.
It gets worse for me too. I mean, I'm taking off work, and all this to take care of you when we don't even know what's wrong with you. I mean, don't you think we have, better things to be doing? Like signing record deals, bringing in money for the family. The house has been a mess. You haven't been there. The maid has been sick. I mean, what do you expect?
I would really like just some compassion, possibly. Please.
Compassion for what?
I just haven't been feeling well. I haven't been feeling well.
Feeling well? What do you mean feeling well? I haven't been feeling well. I haven't been at work.
As I look back to step into the role of filmmaking, I realized that my steps were actually ordered by God. God had pieced everything together before I even stepped foot in Houston, Texas.
Hold on, bro. Moms!
What? What is it now? Damn, boy, what?
Joan wants to know if you can crash here for a few nights.
I don't know no damn Jordan.
Ma, Joan Richardson, my best friend for the past 4 years.
How old you are?
16.
All right.
That's what it is. She said it was cool, bro.
And I don't know if any of you have ever seen Bayou City, but it was before the empires of the world. It was before all of those types of things. And it was actually centered around a music executive and his family and the trials and tribulations, from the children to the wife having cancer. It was this whole thing. And I remember me and Joan sat at the table in her kitchen, and we literally wrote this episodic. We wrote every single episode probably over the course of 3, 4, 5 days.
We didn't have anything to start off with. We went to the store and purchased 2 JVC cameras. We did not have sound. We didn't know anything about lighting. We were actually filming scenes in the dark with a porch light on. We were determined, and this is what purpose-driven looks like.
And we built this world of Bayou City, and we built these characters that had so much depth, and over the course of writing these episodes, we started to realize that God had brought us together just from different things. God has a way of giving you affirmations throughout a process to let you know that He's present, to let you know you're exactly where He wants you to be at all times. And Lord knows that He gave us so many of them, because at that time there were so many things coming up against us, whether it been internally in the family or externally and professionally with friends and things of that nature. But we stayed the course, and we stayed the course, and at that moment it was no stopping us. We became family during the period of writing Bayou City, and then during the period of filming Bayou City, oh, it was over. The game was forever changed.
We had one heck of a time filming Bayou City. The lessons learned was priceless. We were purpose driven. We were not going to stop. And after that would come more and more and more films. And we have films that we have not even tapped into yet.
Our history was forever changed. We immediately became business partners, and from that led to multiple films being produced and directed, multiple films being produced and distributed across the world internationally. The hits kept coming, the success kept coming, but more importantly, our friendship, our family. You know, Trina became like a second mother to me, someone who spoke into my life and encouraged me as I was going through the industry, because like I said, I was just at the peaking point of my career where I was breaking through. And once this bond came together, once God had placed someone in my life that understood what I was dealing with, but understood it not just from a personal level, but a spiritual level, my career took off, my success took off, because Joan was in my life, because she decided to be obedient to God's will and connect with me and speak her truth that day at Boys and Girls Club. That led to Bayou City, that led to us being partners, that led to everything that was to follow.
I remember asking him to do the short film Consequences, which was a stage play, and he did not hesitate to step into that role. And that was my first short film.
Have I ever mistreated you? Ever? Junior, do you think you can brace up to me? Man to man?
You are not my father.
Wait a minute.
I'm just trying to make sure you don't disappoint your mama.
Look, let's not go there today.
My father should be with my mother.
Your father is where he belongs. Look, I arrested your dad because he was crooked.
Man, Mom, you mean to tell me you want to be with the man that arrested my father, Mother? Are you serious? I'm angry. Can't you see that? That man let me go like a selfish son of a...
Let him go. I know you're angry, but you have to find other ways to direct that anger. Like after school activities, football, basketball. You know, I see young cats like you every day, walking around, pants hanging below their waists, trying to be grown. And do you know what they wind up doing? Either getting killed or killing somebody else. I'm trying to be here to help you. I'm trying to keep you from making the same mistakes that I made when I was a kid. I didn't have nobody there for me, but I'm trying to be there for you.
And at the beginning of this video, I said that Joan was one of the pioneers of women filmmaking in Texas, and she really was. From her love of the arts, from her hard work over all these years, and from everything that we did together, Joan was always a sponge. She soaked up all the knowledge that I had and those around her, and she cleaned it up, and then she distributed back out to the masses. And because of her, so many women, through the incredible, brilliant Women in Film organization in Texas, have now gone on to do their own projects.
As we wrap up episode 3, I hope that I have inspired you to keep going no matter what it looks like. Speak positive. Even if you don't see the fun in there, even if you don't see the possibility of you going further in the film industry, speak positive and don't ruin your witness. That was the first sermon I had preached. Take a look at this.
And I would say the moment for me that I always remember, she had an opportunity to speak, and she talked about not ruining your witness. And that has carried me not only in ministry, but it has carried me in the marketplace. Whenever I am speaking, whenever I am dealing with my staff, regardless if I'm, in a meeting with VPs or if I'm in a meeting with someone that's a peer, regardless of what it is, she said, don't ruin your witness. So whatever you stand for, whatever your morals are, whatever your values are, don't ruin your witness. Don't be someone different than who you say that you are. Don't be someone different than who you serve or who you decide that you want to proclaim to serve or to believe in. Whatever that is, don't ruin your witness. Don't ruin that way that other person may see you. And so some of those things like that really always resonated with me, from dolls to not ruining my witness, and then also being able to encourage me as a single mother. And those moments got me to where I am today. And I believe that every single person in this world, in this universe, needs a Trina in their life to be able to undergird them, to be able to encourage them, to be able to witness to them, to be able to literally carry them in moments when they cannot carry themselves, to be able to encourage them and tell them that they can keep going regardless of what it may look like or how you feel in that very moment. She's able to literally do that for you. And she is almost like a midwife to literally help you deliver whatever's within you, so that way you can bring that promise, you can bring it to fruition, so that way you can be just as great as she is, And I know she doesn't take all the credit for all this amazing work that she has done, but she's literally impacted lives across the world. And I'm so grateful that I have an opportunity to have a Trina in my life, and being able to have her growing up. Then and even now, to be able to look to for a guide, for assistance, to be able to continue to support and have that encouragement. So I am so grateful for Trina and all that she has done and all that is to come. Thank you.
God blessed me with the ability to breathe the same air as her. And this is just the beginning. We've been in this thing now over 10 years, going on 15 years. Before you know it, we'll be at 20. Before you know it, we'll be at 30. And it's just the beginning. The world has not seen nothing yet that Joan has to offer. And I am so excited that she is blessing us with this series that she's doing, to tell her story, to tell her truth, but also to inspire other young and upcoming women in filmmaking, all the way to our young babies, that it is possible no matter your age, no matter where you start, no matter how many people take your ideas, it does not matter. She keeps coming back. She is resilient. I love her. I am proud of her. Iron sharpens iron. And over the years, me and Joan have had many of successes, but we've had many obstacles, and we've made each other better because of it. Thank you, Joan. Thank you for being you. Thank you for helping others. And thank you, most importantly, for being obedient to God and allowing Him to use you through it all, to share your gifts with the world. I love you.
Even though God moved her to another place, as God moved her along, she never disconnected. Always reaching out, always inclusive, always teaching, always reaching out her hand into the community, reaching back to those who she mentored before, and she's continued as her projects have continued to grow. She's continued to be inclusive. It's been such a blessing, even as I've entered into directing, acting again on stage. She's been instrumental in helping me, and she's such a blessing to myself. She's a blessing everywhere she goes, and of course she's a blessing to the world. And I'm just so thankful that I was able to learn from her. And I want to say, Joan, I love you so much, and congratulations on all your many accomplishments. And I know that God has only bigger and greater things for you. I love you. God bless.
Remain courageous. No matter what it looks like, you will finish the course. God will not bring you to it and then leave you there. Don't be discouraged. Continue to fight. Continue to move on. Stay in faith. Stay prayerful. Even if God's purpose doesn't make you famous or popular, the one thing that you need to always remember is to be true to thine own self and do what God has called you to do. Until then, you guys be safe. I'll see you on episode 4.